Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dorks Podcast, episode 14. I am your host, Stacey Snackies, as always, brought to you with my co-host, McBee. How's it going, McBee?
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty darn good.
Sure seems like that after that little puff right there.
Is that what that was? Jeez.
I think...
It's been a long day, man, but you know what? I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk about Magic the Gathering, because I've finally been playing a little bit, and feels good.
Good. Like arena, you mean, or physical as well?
Yeah, arena. I haven't been able to sling any physical cards recently, but the computer's a good outlet, just getting on for like an hour or two. I've not bought anything on arena except the $5 pack thus far, and I just keep doing dailies and racking up gold and stuff and just trying to grind out wins, man.
I've been debating buying that pack because I was just looking at it recently after I updated the game today, and I noticed it was like, what, $5 gets you 5 packs and 2,500 gems, which can get you 2 more 6 packs. So you, or no, yeah, so you get like 17, 18 packs for $5. That seems fine.
Yeah, it's like almost 4 times the value on your money.
Yeah,
because usually gems per dollar ratio is like 200 gems is $1, I think.
Do they let you buy that thing more than once, or is it just like just one time and then you're done?
Once and you're done.
Once and you're done. Well, we also have our other co-host, Dan. How's it going, Dan?
Howdy. It's going good. Happy to be here.
How much arena have you been playing?
Oh, all day, every day, son.
Yeah.
Lots and lots. Grinding that gold.
Has it been replacing paper for you recently, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, 100%.
Do you have confidence that could do that in the future?
Yep.
Just grind on the computer.
I think it's going to be pretty scary what's going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, I've been kind of worrying because I was talking with TJ earlier today when I went to Epic to get that bad boy right over there. He was telling me that Hasbro is in the process of opening their own stores, kind of like how Wizards of the Coast had their own little play areas for a bit, but Hasbro's kind of moving in on that and doing like here's all of our toys and shit, and like here's a play space for Magic players or D&D, whatever.
Watsy's just like lips shut, not gonna say a word. Mum's the word.
You know, the argument for a company like Hasbro to do that and to just like move their own stuff into a place and just dominate the game space is really there, I think, for the fact that Toys R Us isn't with us anymore as a company is just dead, even though there's like that Jeffrey's toy thing, but that seems like it's about as viable as KB Toy and Hobby. So
it's gonna die to Amazon.
Is this like Watsy's grand scheme, like launch arena, kill off LGSs, and then start their own like
I don't think it's them trying to kill the LGSs. It seems like it's more or less them trying to stem the bleeding, like what you were saying, Sean. Toys R Us getting shut down, so they gotta recuperate somehow, and it's just like, well, we might as well sell toys and cards at the same time. So,
well, if you know what, dude, if they make a space where people can go and play, and it's not terrible, and they have like a good selection of cards, and they're like the hub for getting cards, I'm not completely.
Well, I mean, if they're the source, they better be like
right. And they better have a decent space to play, because like those little game center places that they had back in the day, I did like the concept of them, but it's like there was a lot of other stuff there that didn't make a lot of sense. Or
I never saw one of those.
Oh, really?
I think you're they were after your time, right?
I have a very, very faint memory from like the early 2000s of one. Was that when they closed? Was it early 2000s, or did they close in the late 90s? I might be confusing it with something else.
I think they closed in 99 or 98.
Okay, it might have been something else I had it confused with then.
Well, it was out when like
Refreshment?
Invasion was out in like 2001. So
2001, yeah.
Okay.
Right around that time is when I remember going, at least, and it was a place that you went into, and it had like cool lighting and stuff like that. It looked like they kind of made something similar to the old like Wizards of the Coast game center that they had in Seattle in their university district, which in and of itself was a very cool place. It was like,
I wish I could have went there. I wish I could have went there. That would have been awesome.
Bro, it was so cool. It really was, but the memory of it, I'm sure is better than it actually was.
What do you remember? Like, what really stood out?
So that they had a store kind of like you're talking about that Wizards that Wizards put together, kind of like this Hasbro store with all their stuff in it. So like D&D miniatures and like stuff for doing a D&D campaign, and like I bought the 1996 Champ decks from the Wizards store there, like 4 out of the 8 of them. And they also had a cool retail area, and then you would like go downstairs, and as you're going down, there was like a big Hurloon Minotaur, like huge, like 15, 20 feet in like kind of leering out at you from the stairs. And then you go down, and there's all these original prints of like Legends cards and stuff like that, and like moxes and stuff on the wall, and some of the and like sealed in cases on the wall, and a lot of like dark like curtains and things like that around to make it look kind of like den like, I guess you could say. It was kind of a strange environment, but it seemed cool at the time, and this cool lighting that made each table kind of like a feature match, and they just run tournaments out of it all day long, like. And they had video game, like a couple of N64s hooked up and stuff like that, and a good amount of table space. Like they had, I think, Worlds there one time, where they had a big, like some qualifier for Worlds there many, many times.
Why wouldn't they bring one of those back nowadays and just like host fucking Pro Tours there or something?
I don't know. Well, it wasn't big enough for a modern day Pro Tour. Like you still have to go to a hall or something like that, or rent a decent sized hotel if you're gonna put together a Pro Tour or any kind of big event. I guess it has to be like a conference center or something, because they're so big.
I remember Mark Rosewater discussing these stores on his podcast, and he said that like the Pokemon card game is what kept those stores in business. And when they lost the rights of that card game to was it Konami or something, or whatever that Japanese company was,
Nintendo, the Pokemon company.
That's what it was. They lost the rights. They couldn't renew the rights. Those stores essentially kind of went under because of that loss of being able to manufacture that, keep producing that. So like today, you might be right. Like the loss of Toys R Us might be the exact avenue that they need to open these stores again, because you don't have a huge competition in the market. And now you can fill that void. But what I was thinking was like these shops, like for me, I from what I remember and can recall on my experience, was these were great for getting young kids into the game. Whereas like local game stores, they're so off the beaten path. Whereas like when these stores are in malls and strip malls, you have a much higher chance of some like younger kid who might be in the high school age of walking in and like, oh, what's that? What is that game that you're playing? Whereas, at your local school or your high school, the odds of that are still just as likely, if not more likely, but you're giving more opportunities to bring in new players to the game. Whereas, if you didn't have these stores around, you're just like, well, we have this game called Arena.
Yeah, get online, kids. Ask your parents.
Yeah.
It would be cool to see stores like that pop up in places. Like, could you imagine having a Toys R Us as your local game store?
Oh, it'd be so insane.
That'd be annoying, dude. You'd have to deal with fucking kids all the time, man.
No, but like if it's just Hasbro stuff, if they're selling like Monopoly and all this other stuff, they have, a decent looking storefront and then an area for people to go play cards.
Yeah, having a corporation to support your LG, like be the funding of your, like, keeping the lights on, so to speak. I don't know that you could ask for any more.
And one of the biggest complaints that people have for LGSs in general is that they're not very appealing to those that aren't already entrenched in the culture of local game stores. And if you bring a lot of corporate dollars into that and a lot of corporate influence, you could probably change people's tunes about visiting those kinds of places, because it'd be like, oh, they have clean bathrooms, or it looks a bit more appealing because there is a lot more funds and time devoted into that.
And that's one thing I really remember about our local WotC store when it was in business, was it was really clean and slick. Like it was very corporatized, and just everything about it was just really kind of in place, you know. Whereas you go to some of these LGSs and stuff is so just scattered and kind of like junky, and it's just like, man, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? Like, you need this space for this or this, like not for that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go into too much details, but I mean, there's one local game store that I've been in. I'm not gonna name names or give like too many details, but like, I went in there once and I never wanted to go back. And when you have that kind of a feeling about it, well, it's south of here by about 10 miles, 12 miles, so that should give you an idea of where it's at.
Nope.
But the owner was very nice. I will say that. I can't, fault the guy. So, but he was in business for many years, so it was a successful model. It's just, it wasn't for me.
Was it smelly?
Yeah, it was very smelly. Very smelly. And I thought when I walked up the stairs that I was going to fall through them.
Oh, damn. Okay, here's a news flash for anyone who thinks they're going to open up a game store. If there are stairs involved,
first off, you are
choosing the wrong location. If stairs are at all involved, you're cutting out like 30% of your clientele, dude. Don't even fuck with stairs. For all of us.
Or be able to maintain upkeep for your stairs.
Yeah, clean your bathrooms. Don't fuck with stairs. Those are 2 rules. Ironclad, dude. They're written in stone.
It's actually, if you want to apply to be an LGS, you have to meet that criteria. You can't. It has to be one floor, and you have to have a bathroom that is not leaking or smelly.
There cannot be there can't be piss on the ground actively for more than an hour.
And there's like a detector, kind of like how there are those for radiation, but it's for nerd fog. Yeah. And you just whip it out, and it starts cracking, and it's just...
Oh, the fog bank's rolled in again.
Yeah, you have nerd fog levels of 0.83. That is 12 points higher than the legal limit.
Man, if you took that detector into the place Dan was talking about... Like, oh, I've never seen readings this high.
You're going to break my fucking machine.
The nerd fog is strong in here.
Man, that is the thing I like most about Arena, though, man. You don't have to deal with all that BS.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, how many times have you sat next to a Magic player that just doesn't get it? Like, you need to shower daily, or at least every other day. Like, I have sat next to someone who literally smelled like they defecated in their pants. And it's just like how, dude? Like, how do you manage that? Like, how? I mean, I understand if you're homeless, but you gotta at least make an effort and make yourself presentable when you go to a tournament and you're gonna sit next to someone for an hour.
Go in the damn bathroom and get a bum shower on or something. Dude.
I mean, yeah, there's the wet wipes, that I've seen and heard of people doing that before, and yeah, they don't smell that bad. And I'm like, damn, you did that with alcohol wipes? That's impressive.
Oh man, I can think of a couple select people too who just had stink lines coming off of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally sat next to people where I had to get up and leave. I couldn't do it.
There was this guy at Epic who used to smell like day-old onions that had been like sitting out. You know that smell, that really pungent, offensive odor?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking bad.
Wicked BO.
Oh, yeah. You know what else? Or you know what I was thinking has BO? Do you think the Pro Tour has BO? Considering that it's a more professional environment and you see people dressing better.
Big open spaces, dude. Big open spaces.
Oh, man.
Lots of circulation. So
that's a great segue.
Tall ceilings.
I was trying to think of one.
That was great.
That was the most clever one I could think of. So.
That was awesome.
So the Pro Tour was this past weekend. In case you didn't watch it like me, the only thing that I saw of the Pro Tour this past weekend were the final matches themselves. But at the beginning of every fall Pro Tour, there is a Hall of Fame induction. And in this one, who was in the class again?
Seth Manfield and Li Shitian.
Okay, how did it go? Because I didn't watch it.
Pretty awesome. Li Shitian definitely threw down and let the mic drop on his induction speech and let
Really?
Watsy know how he felt.
What was
Yeah.
he saying?
Basically, like, you need to support APAC. Like, the Asian Pacific region is seriously neglected, and South America is seriously neglected as well.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
like, these are people that like love and want to support this game, but when like a box of Magic is like almost twice as expensive there for them, and their like economy is nowhere near what the US economy is, could you imagine how expensive Magic is for them to play?
And I'll bet the conditions there too.
Yeah.
Like, they have moisture, like we do in the Pacific Northwest, and that is not kind to these poorly made cards that Wizards puts out.
And like
It's
the
not nice.
travel that they have to make to do these tournaments is like insane too. I remember one time Paulo Vito Domodorosa made a post about how far he had to travel for a tournament, and it was insane. This was a long time ago, I think, when PV fell off the train, but I mean, it's a real thing, and Wizards really needs to keep these other players in mind, like the globalization of the game, when they're making these sweeping changes for the Pro Tour and for other things involved with Magic. And I mean, Li Shitian, I think, did what he could when he was giving his speech.
Well, I'm glad he took advantage of the pedestal that he had, kind of like when Jerry Thompson did when he took advantage of his position in boycotted worlds.
Yeah, Jerry T's the real MVP.
Yeah. I'm glad seeing that pros are finally, stepping up and telling Wizards like, hey, you got to stop. This is not sustainable, to say the least.
Yeah, it was really fun to see, or it was great to see, like, Li Shitian kind of like, put his fist down and really kind of like try to send a message. And then you had the inverse of that, and like the really passionate speech in Seth Mansfield, where he just literally broke down on the mic and was just it meant so much to him that it brought him to tears. And
Really?
he couldn't even keep himself together. He just like lost it, and it was pretty. It was pretty special to watch, something that meant so much to someone, and they're a grown ass man, and they're just overcome with emotion. Yep. It was neat.
It's good to see that people still have that kind of passion for Magic,
Yeah.
Because like there was a time when I think everyone at some point, if you're pretty spiky, you're like, man, I wonder if I could like really go and win a tournament and win like a lot of prize money, or go and like beat an entire field of people. Like, that could be me. That could be a thing that I could do.
And I could have a trophy in my room.
Yeah. I could be recognized by Magic players everywhere. I could be, like, be looked at differently. Looked at like I accomplished something with a game that I love playing. That's pretty dope.
And you also know that like the spot that he earned isn't going to go to waste. Whereas like you have some invites that like don't even play anymore, that just got their Hall of Fame induction and they played a couple times and that was that. Yeah. And it's kind of sad that like, they kind of, the game just doesn't matter as much to them anymore. But you still have players like Seth that it means the world to them. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of also people in the Pro Tour Hall of Fame, they've just been outclassed because the caliber of player from 15, 20 years ago is different compared to today. Save for a few examples like your Kai Buddhas, William Jensen's, John Finkel's, that kind of stuff. But most of the time, a lot of your older players, or Darwin Castle's also another exception to the rule, but a lot of your older players, they'll sometimes come back to the Pro Tour and they'll maybe make a few rounds before they scrub out entirely. And I mean, it's not their fault entirely. They've been out of the game for quite some time. So.
Dude, speaking of Kai Buddha, I looked into a little like stat the other day. I was interested about like top 8 win rates on Pro Tours, and Kai Buddha has won 7 Pro Tours. Now, to give you a little bit
didn't he win most of those in a very short amount of time too?
Yeah, he won like I think it was 4 in a row.
Jesus,
when he earned the nickname of German Juggernaut, and Like, yeah, he is 7-3 in top 8s. Now, to give you an idea, Paulo Vitor Damaderosa, he has made 12 Pro Tour top 8s, and he is 2-10. He's taken down 2 of them out of 12. And PVD is a beast.
Yeah. Fucking Buddha just stomps on the competition. Wasn't he in this Pro Tour, though?
He was. He had a pretty insane match against Seth Manfield.
How did that go down? What deck was he playing?
Kai was playing Golgari midrange.
Okay.
And Seth was on Selesnya tokens? I think it was.
Fair magic is the good doctor intended.
Oh, dude, it was great. It was such a good match, man. Like, it was such a good match that they even had to cover it at the coverage desk because it was such next level plays that was occurring where it was like, if I play this, you might play this. And then since I don't have that, you know, I can't take that line. And you could literally see all these lines in front of you as the viewer because the commentators were doing their jobs by like conveying those lines of like, he can't play the Vivian Reed because if he does, then, you know, he can get attacked by this, like the creature that was on board. I forget the board state at the time, but it was really great to see. And their match went to time. And so they were in turns, and both players played for the win from the get-go. They did not hold back. They all took lines, and you could see if you played a lot of Standard, you could see that these lines that they were both taking were to win the game, not to draw. And you could see it unfolding for like a 5-turn cycle, you know. And it was so awesome, man. If you haven't watched any Pro Tour coverage, go back and watch Kai and Seth's match. It was a really treat to see.
Who ended up winning?
Kai ended up taking it down on the final turn. Seth did not top deck the answer that he needed, and he swung in with 2 of his 3 creatures, which was like kind of the middle of the road line, because he wasn't sure what Kai had in his hand. So Kai had a removal spell and killed one of the creatures and then attacked back for the win. And it was such a good match that really showcased how strong of players these guys are and how next level Magic is. It's really next level. It's a game of like percentages and knowing what your opponent could and couldn't have, and then figuring out those like odds and you know, taking your best approach with that information, you know.
Something that requires like thousands upon thousands of hours of grinding and just going through the motions and figuring out how to play the game correctly.
Yeah, you kind of get it through instinct though at some point too. Like you get a feel for how often somebody's going to have something if you played, you know, a lot of Magic with one deck. You know, like it's not like memorizing like percentages as much as it is like you kind of get a feel for how people play and set stuff up, how they tap things, how they read a lot of different signs when people are playing, and it all gives you kind of this overall intuition about kind of what line you want to go down. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes you're wrong though too. So,
oh yeah, you just get absolutely blown out. But I mean, I'm always as the proponent of just, you know, always be the aggressor, always propose the question, and if they have it, they have it. Like, you know.
Dan is the beatdown.
Oh, I am the beatdown, and I will get my 1 point of damage from every trigger that occurs possible.
And I will draw every fucking card off Heuristic Study. Yeah. Believe that. Did you pay for that?
Did you pay for that?
Let's get a shirt that says it. Whenever you play Commander, you just wear the shirt that says, "Did you pay the one?"
That's awesome.
You got the shirt, boys.
Oh, man.
Merch. So speaking of spicy plays, there was another one featuring LSV and Jeremy Dezani that has been quite a point of controversy amongst other players. And
really,
yeah, but for one reason in specific, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, but I'll go over it after we actually look over the clip. And this clip here, you may see some degradation in quality because I'm screen sharing through Google Hangouts, and it's not really the best quality. So it may be a little bit choppy. Dan, why don't you go ahead and explain what's going on, because I've yet to actually see this whole clip in its full context.
All right, so this is like game 3 of the semifinals match, and this is the final turn between Jeremy Desani and LSV, and LSV has a single card that he sideboarded in, and Jeremy attacks in not knowing what that card is, and LSV is waiting for Jeremy to essentially decide what he thinks LSV's blockers are going to be. And LSV's got a Settle the Wreckage in his hand, and he's just waiting for Jeremy to like finish his thought process and his line, and then he just stops him. He's like, "Dude, I got Settle. Like, here it is."
Absolutely perfect timing, sir. Worked out great. So everyone's been going through the roof about how great of a play it was and how he next level Jeremy Desani. And there are some other people that have been talking about, like, how wrong is that? If this wasn't LSV that was making this play, would people change their tune about it? Would they cry foul more if it weren't LSV?
So,
what?
Like, I still don't understand what happened, though. Did he, like, suggest to him that he should attack with extra stuff or something?
No, it was just I think some people think he might have slow rolled him, but he was actually just waiting for Jeremy to finish, because Jeremy was like lining up LSV's blocks and how he thought LSV would block. And I don't know if Jeremy, my guess would be it's LSV. I mean, he's played thousands of matches of Magic, like in high competitive REL. He's not going to like show him the Settle until Jeremy declares that those are his attackers. So we have to assume that Jeremy, audibly declared those are my attacks, and then LSV's like, okay, Settle the Wreckage you. Like, I think what you're seeing and hearing is a lot of people that were watching that clip and watching the stream, and they think that LSV slow rolled him.
Well, it had the focus of it was that token, though, right? Because he was holding on to the token, essentially communicating to Jeremy, I could activate my Adonto the first fort and get my 1/1 to prevent dying or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think people were having the issue with that because they were like, oh, LSV was quote unquote intending that he was going to make the token, when in actuality he wasn't, to do the Settle the Wreckage. And that was the bluff there.
Did he actually put the token on the board, though? He just was like
I think he was holding it onto his hand. I think he was just holding on to it. It didn't actually leave his hand. And then Jeremy ended up picking up that same token and had it flipped over on the other side, as if he were kind of doing the same or doing some math in his own head.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah. I don't know. Sounds like a little bit of like sour grapes. I don't think it... I don't know. It's like next level games. Yeah, like he got Jedi mind trick, bro. Like that's just...
There's a pen trick right there.
That's a bad beat, my friend. That is a bad beat.
I thought he was going to get the 1/1, but I got fucking settled.
He got wrecked.
Greatest teacher failure is.
He got totally wrecked, man.
Literally.
I mean, what's savage about that is he only boarded in 1. Like, how do you draw that and have the land, the Adonto, like flipped, and like have like the exact amount of mana you need to like tap Adonto and like be in that situation, that board state, and then you just like, yeah, I got Settle. Sorry, bro. Like,
I don't know what to tell you, man. You're dead.
That's a gut wrenching feeling when you're in that situation as Jeremy. I mean, he is down, 0-2, so like he probably knew at that point he was gonna possibly lose the match, but like that's just a punch in the gut right there.
Well,
maybe that'll teach you not to attack into 4 white mana.
You know what was the crazy thing was every player that played second in the top 8 for all those like red-white matchups won the game. Yep.
It had quite the conversion rate.
Yeah.
So is the red-white deck pretty good?
Yeah.
It was really good for the weekend. So I'm going to pull up the deck list for the top 8 now. This is the bottom here. This is the one outlier deck that I've actually been trying out on Arena. a lot. Is it Drake's, which is built around Goblin Electromancer, so that way you can go through your deck really quickly with your Discovery Dispersals and your Radical ideas. So that way you can get fat Enigma Drakes and Crackling Drakes and get your Arclight Phoenixes from the graveyard and swing in. But the main issue with his build is that he wasn't running any like fiery cannonades or anything to be able to take care of the go wide decks. So he got raffle stomped by a bunch of red white decks like Tae Jun Hao's. It seems like the cards of this weekend were cards like Rustwing Falcon. You could either go this route with that and like Sky Merchant Aspirant and your Dauntless Bodyguard. But the other route that you could go, once I find it,
LSV's deck.
Yeah, where's
the Pridebane or Johnny, the 2-drop creature?
I think I already passed it.
I think it's at the bottom.
Yeah, I did pass it.
There you go.
Yeah, the 4 Healers Hawk and the Ajani's Pridemate, which is essentially a Tarmogoyf in this standard when it's played with other synergistic cards. You could go that route as well, but it seems like the story of the weekend was red-white aggro was able to get in underneath everyone else.
Yeah.
But the main consensus, it seems, is that it was very much a weekend deck. And while it may be relevant in the meta in the future, it's not going to be too dominant because it folds to every single relevant wrath in this format, like Golden Demise, Fiery Cannonade, Deafening Clarion, Cleansing Nova, Ritual Suit. There's just too many answers for that.
It doesn't, though. It doesn't.
You know,
if the red-white player is on the play and the board sweep deck is on the draw, your board sweepers aren't going to be able to catch a Johnny Pridemate before he grows out of it with the Healer Hawk turn 1.
Well, we have stuff like Seal Away and Conclave Tribunal in the format as well. And
Yeah.
Settle the Wreckage.
Yeah.
There are answers for those.
Yeah. What's that?
Seal Away is so cheap.
Yeah, it's so good, man. I'm actually contemplating shooing back in a two or three of in my Jeskai deck right now because it's so good at protecting Teferi and whatnot. But like, I've been playing a lot of Jeskai, and I've actually lost to the red white deck a couple times now where they've had turn 1 Hawk, turn 2 Pridemate, and my Deafening Clarion board sweeper just can't catch it in time to deal 3 damage, and it just outgrows it too quick. And I'm just like, wow, that's the exact instance that LSV was going for, and I had it happen twice where I was just like, oh, all right, that's why that deck's good.
You know what you need? Justice
Strike. Yeah, dude, Justice Strike is so good, man.
It is. Justice Strike is a pretty great card. I've been playing a Boros control deck with stuff like Lyra's Rekindling Felix and Huatli as my top end, and then just maintaining the early game with stuff like Sealaways and Justice Strikes. Dude, Justice Strike is pretty fucking good. It's also seen some play in Modern as well, too.
Nice. You should play that against me. I'd like to play against that on Arena.
I think.
Yeah, we should. Oh, speaking of, Arena now allows that thanks to the update that went live today, I think. You can play with your friends, however, in a really convoluted and confusing way. So normally when you want to play multiplayer with another player, you go through the motions of, friend requesting them, and then you can see them in your lobby and challenge them that way. Not with Arena, at least in the version that they have implemented right now. If you want to challenge a friend, you have to find their tag, kind of like in Discord, and then you have to enter in their tag manually every single time you want to play them, and they have to do the exact same for you, and you both have to challenge and wait for each other in a very specific lobby. And that's how you get to play.
It like the fact that they thought a push-pull mechanism for playing against each other was a good idea is beyond me. I
hope it's just temporary. I hope it's just placeholder for an actual system.
I think it will be. They're so overwhelmed right now and overworked in terms of coding that they're swamped, and they're doing everything they can to keep up with this program. I mean, Magic is a complicated game, and to be able to like code everything that you need to do with Magic, it's I would not want that job. That's all I can say.
Is this, I don't really know anything about game development, but is it an issue where you could hire more developers and throw them at the problem, or is there a deeper core issue, you think?
They're trying. Every stream I've seen on the weekly MTG Arena stream on Twitch is they end every stream with like, if you know anybody that thinks that they can do this job and has any experience, please tell them to apply. Please.
Wow.
Please. Like,
well, I do know that they're not. I remember hearing, or not hearing, but reading a job listing for a developer for Arena, and this was a few years back, like maybe 2 or 3 years back, and everyone was joking about how uncompetitive the wages were. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
maybe they're too cheap.
And that's always been the knock about Wizards is a great place to live. I think it's Redmond that they're at. And it's a great place to live and work out of, but it's just low pay and no room for advancement.
Wow, why is it all the fun things in the world don't pay much of anything? That's
because they know that it's fun and you want to work
exactly.
there.
They take advantage of your fanboyism.
Yep.
Jack wagons, dude. That's terrible.
Kind of like whenever they would hire like pro players or whatever to be interns. Like I remember watching a Travis Wu video where he was talking about when he was an intern there for 6 months, and just how pretty much everyone who's grandfathered in just shits on everyone else in the company, pretty much. And that's how it is there. And you can like sleep your way through or find a way to snake yourself up the ladder. But most of the time, those up top stay up top and they keep everyone else down at the bottom. And a lot of the Glassdoor reviews mimic that as well. So it wouldn't be surprised to see that type of behavior mimicked across the entire board of the company, both digital and paper.
Like, what do you think keeps them in that state of like, if it's true that they're a bunch of assholes to their subordinates, what would make that happen? Why would they do that? Like, don't people realize that it's better to have a structure where people are like trying to help each other and overcome problems and like have a good time?
Well, that's what they always keep telling themselves. They keep telling themselves how to fix the problems and stuff like that, but it's always just the same people that are in the same positions, and they don't want to change anything at all. They're very comfortable where they are, so they're not willing to bend to cater to anyone's real needs, when in all reality, if anyone really wants to challenge like someone like, say, Mark Rosewater, he can just pull the "I've been here since virtually the beginning" card. You don't know jack shit, fuck you kind of attitude, you know?
I don't think he would ever say that, but
well, you get what I mean. Probably in a nicer way.
You know,
yeah,
seems like a nice guy. Rich Hagon.
Rich Hagon.
He seems like a genuinely nice person.
I think he does. I think he does a good job at the news desk.
I've actually met him. I met him at GP Seattle. I met him, and we were riding an elevator down to the parking lot, and I was like, "Hey, you're a great commentator," and he's just like, "Thanks." And it's like, "Cool, great meeting you. Bye."
That's awesome.
That's the extent of my great story. Every single time I've met a Magic personality, it's the exact same story mimicked over and over again. Rich Hagon, Travis Wu, all of them.
Wow.
Hey, I'm 2-0 against Travis Wu, man. I got that guy's number.
Oh.
Literally his digits, or like?
Oh no, just the win-loss ratio, 100%.
Did you play him
undefeated
like in an event, or was this just casual?
Way back in the day, played him in a couple PTQs when we were young whippersnappers, and once was in limited and once was in constructed, and he was playing the jankiest shit in constructed. And it did not surprise me when he like made it big with his living end deck, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Travis.
I forgot he's the one that pretty much made that deck. I don't know if he's the creator, but he's the one that put it into the limelight, and he also did the Ninja Bear Delver deck as well.
Yeah,
that deck made fucking Disrupting Shoal jump up from like a 50-cent rare to a $10 card, and it's still hovering like around the $8 mark 4 years after the card blew up in price, and nobody plays it literally and like anything.
Vendors got to get their money back, man.
I guess, man. Jesus.
They gotta double up on that buy list investment
on this $8 card that no one's bought a copy of in probably years.
Yeah, I always tell people when I'm buying cards from them, like, I can't pay that much. Like, that card has just spiked. Like, I'm not going to give you, like, 65 cents on the dollar for a card that just spiked. It's going to go down. You're going to see supply outstrip demand, and I'm not going to do that. But it's this much money. No, not for long.
Sorry, dude.
That was like the #1 complaint. I swear to God, when we were at Epic, is like people wanted to trade in stuff. It was like hot right then. It's like, yeah, no, man, I'm not gonna trade for something because it just jumped up to like $80 all of a sudden from 12,
Yep.
and you want to trade it in for like max value right now? Like, no.
How do I know that this price is sustainable? First
Yeah.
off, second, I know you're trying to swindle me, so fuck off, because I know you bought these for like $3 last week, so fuck you.
Yeah. Like, oh God, that shit gets so old so fast. A great way for your card shop to lose value, by the way, is to dip into that. Oh, there's something randomly went up a bunch. Yeah, I should totally trade for it. People will love it. Nope, bad idea. Don't do that.
Yeah, it seems like buy lists in general have been kind of dried up lately, because I was talking with TJ about that earlier today. He was saying about like how people have been complaining a lot lately about buy list prices, but it seems like it's been the same across the board, whether it's shops or like your eBay vendors or your TCG player vendors or whatever. Like, people just aren't really buying as aggressively as they used to. The rates are paltry. Like, Epic does 40% for cash, I believe, and he was saying that Guardian does like 25% for cash, and that's pretty similar to Red Castle, which if I remember correctly, Red Castle is either at 20 or 30%. They've always been like that.
That's
but
awful.
yeah,
Red Castle forever has been.
Wow.
it's a nice looking game store, but they just gouge you really bad.
Yeah, that's not where you go to trade in cards. Well, I mean, there's some things that I've seen at Red Castle that I've not been able to see in other places. Like, they will randomly get in some pretty choice stuff that you're like, ooh, piece of candy. And
Yeah, they have a good selection of cards.
I don't care what it costs if you want something right then and there. Like, sometimes, whatever, pay the premium, doesn't matter.
Right, you pay the convenience premium.
Yep.
The thing I like about there is they're old school, where like all their inventory is on display. So you can literally just like kid in a candy store style, just like go down and like, man, that looks good. I want to get that foil for that, like, commander deck or that modern deck, and I'm willing to pay that price. Like, I mean, it's a pretty legit old school strategy of selling singles, but whatever works for them, they still keep the lights on.
Red Castle has been an interesting place for me to go and play. Like, I've been there in 2 times in a tournament there. I played against someone who was slightly drunk, and their drunkenness lost them the match against me.
Yeah, I did too. And the guy told me he had played on the Pro Tour, and he was like stacking his lands. He's like, "Yeah, I won like a PPTQ and went to this Pro Tour." And I'm like, playing on the Pro Tour and you like stack your lands? And I'm like, and I'm playing this guy for a little bit longer, and it's pretty clear that he's pretty buzzed or faded from something he smoked earlier. But yeah, it was a really weird experience. And like, I had I was 1-1 in this like 3rd round, and like my deck was pretty like insane. I just drafted, it was Dominarian. I drafted like all the bombs that I saw, and I just played like 4 colors. So yeah, my deck was pretty busted, and the dude was like, "Yo, man, how'd you get that? How'd you get that, bro? Like, what the fuck?" And I'm just like, are we done here yet? Can we go?
Go home, sir. You're drunk.
Yeah, it was literally that moment. Yeah.
Why
Oh
did you
man,
pay $5 to be in this standard tournament, Mister Person who just spent $50 at the bar getting hammered?
yeah. I mean, he was having fun, which is great, but like, it was really frustrating to play against someone that just insisted on stacking their lands all in like this big pile every time, and I'm just like, my OCD is just like killing me.
That bothers me every time whenever I see it happen, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, are you cheating, and are you going to misrepresent your mana base to me?
Yep, and he did it. One of the times he did do it, and I was like, hold on. Let me see that. And oh yeah, you don't got 2 black. Oh, you're right, bro. You're right.
Yeah, I know I am. So that was keeping an eye out on your cheating ass.
Because I haven't been drinking, sir.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I don't really like playing at Guardian all that much. Guardian's one of the few places in here that can like fire modern events like consistently and standard as well. But modern's kind of where it's at for them. But a lot of the times when I'll go to a modern event, people want me to come over to the other side of the store and play with them because they're drinking over on the other side of the store. And it's just fucking annoying, man, just having to deal with that shit.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, like, I get it. You want to kick back and have a good time and shit, but like, it's inconvenient. So inconvenient that I don't really like going there, but I also don't like going there because of the mad echo that's in there, dude. It's like a gigantic concrete fucking cube in there, dude.
I can't stand it when it's summertime and it's like 100 degrees in there, and it's just you feel like you're
that.
Yeah.
No, they have good air conditioning, or at least from the times I went. Maybe.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think their air conditioning was broke that summer when I was going there. So
You broke, motherfucker.
It's better than what Guardian had before. That little hole in the wall that was pretty close to there. You remember that?
With the dance club above.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played a pre-release there, and I was X&O playing in the last round for first place, and the dancing started, and I about lost my shit. I was like, are you kidding me? I have to, like, do math and think, and, like, I've got this, like, clanking just... I mean, it was so frustrating, bro. I literally had to, like, just pause for, like, 20 seconds to compose myself and just get a grip because I couldn't believe that it was happening.
Get a grip!
Yeah. Yeah, it is loud, man. Have you ever been there, McBee?
I've been to Guardian, but not while a dance is going on.
Oh man, it was so fucking loud. Just imagine like the sound of like lots of like 2x4s falling on like wood floor above you, and that's what it sounded like with like all the heels that people were wearing and whatnot.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it was awful.
And then the music on top of that.
Yeah, like the bass. Like the bass was the most tolerable thing for me because I mean I used to be around a lot of like stereo systems when I was younger, but like I mean fuck man, it was so frustrating because I'm playing with like brand new cards and trying to like think of like combat math and combat tricks, and damage was on the stack back then, and I mean it was considerably difficult to keep my concentration. So.
Dude, that old Guardian, like right before they moved over to the new place that they're at now, I went to like a Pro Tour qualifier or something, and I lost like round 1 to Owen Sullivan.
Oh
God, that guy bothers the shit out of me.
Who's Owen Sullivan?
He's a dude that went to Epic a little bit. He went to Wild Pitch back in the day.
I think I have a face to the name.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude, but it was not fun losing to him. It was not fun. I was playing.
Has he gotten better as a person since then?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him. I saw him like once or twice at Epic, and that was it.
I just know it was unpleasant losing him because I dealt with him more than enough. I'm airing out personal business, of course.
I was about to say, I was like, I don't think anyone who would be listening to this would know who Owen Sullivan is.
Drama.
Yeah.
Turns out he actually subs his channel. He's like, oh, what the fuck? I like
They're
McBee.
slandering me on social media. What the
I'm
hell?
gonna sue this guy.
I didn't like playing against him.
No, we were all, dude, back in the day, we were all like a lot younger and more naive about how we carried ourselves. And I think we all could have done things better and differently. Oh, yeah. And I think like
internet.
Yeah, dude, it was the wild, wild west back then. No joke.
You could be an asshole and get away with it, kind of.
Oh yeah,
more than an asshole and get away with it.
I literally had people steal matches away from me, dude, and judges would just go with it. Like, I'm sorry, you took your finger off the card. No joke. I had a ruling like that one time where like they used like a chess type fucking variant of a rule where like you took your finger off of it. It's a final block. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is magic. This isn't chess. And so I appealed to the head judge, and the head judge agreed with his judge because he doesn't want to like cost his like lackey judge face in front of us. And I'm just like, wow, dude, okay. Like, so I let my blocks go through and put damage on the stack, and I think it was an ATOG or some shit, and I just like threw an artifact to the ATOG to save him, and I think I won the game, but it was just really frustrating to have people pull that kind of like, you know, scummy stuff. And that's why like today, some of us old school players, we have like muscle memory from that, where it's like no holds barred type of shit, where it's like if you see a player do something that's a little bit sketch, your like muscle memory kicks in. It's like, okay, let's go. It's go time. Like time to like play by the rules, and like, you know, you want to play that way. Let's go, you know.
Sharpen up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, me and McBee have played against a guy named Saunders that was like the biggest rules lawyer, and he just would not let anything go and took it to the max. And
wow, that sounds like a fun dude.
Yeah,
Nate's great actually now. Nate Saunders is a good dude now, but his knowledge of the rules was like airtight. His shit was airtight. Even
he actually made me a better player by playing against him, because when I played in higher level events, I was ready and prepared for people to do that to me.
Yep, same.
And that's how Magic used to be. People just, they wanted to get a win at all costs.
Yeah, it was trial.
And if they could rules lawyer out some scrub, then they'd do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's unfortunate today. Like, some new players have things happen and they're like, what the fuck, man? And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, it's hard for us as like really experienced players, because we're used to just going by the letter of the law at like all times.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't go by the letter of the law, you leave that room for error where someone can just get that little window of opportunity and just use that against you and steal a match away. And so when you try to like tread that line of like following everything to the T, and like a new player comes along and they're like, wait, but, and you're like, okay, this time, let's do it this time your way, you know, go do what you want, do what you meant to do, but you know, let's try to keep things by the book, so to speak. That's why I like Arena, though, man. I don't have to deal with any of that bullshit.
The game just does it for you.
Yeah, man.
Like
dude, today I had some dude like attack into my first striker and just suicided his guy into my first striker. It was hilarious. And if that was paper Magic, it'd just be this awkward like, I don't think you want to do that. You can untap your guy. Like, you go ahead, untap your guy. Like,
I had a situation like that yesterday. I was playing. I was the one that fucked up. I attacked with a flyer in for lethal, not remembering that his poison tip archer had reach. So it fucking made me end up losing the game because I had the removal spell in my hand, but I didn't pay attention to that card having reach. Yep. So the rules got me in that sense. So yeah.
Oh, and I had another one today where like this dude went off with his Drake's deck, and he had a 13-4 crackling Drake, and he like, oh, I got my Phoenixes back, gonna attack you for exactly lethal, and he just didn't swing with his 2 Phoenixes. He just cracked me for like 13 or 14 with his crackling Drake, and I'm just like, thanks for an extra turn, untap. Cleansing Nova your board. I have like a grip of counters and removal. It was awesome. It was just like, I'm like a cat on Arena, man. I have like 9 lives, I swear.
Mistakes from your opponent are.
Have you ran into any of those yet on Arena, McBee?
No, I've only been the one that's done them so far. Most of the time, like I've had a problem like misclicking once or twice, but I think it's because I'm using my touchscreen too.
Are you using like Windows 8 OS or something, or
it's Windows 10? It's just a like touchscreen interface on it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's actually pretty nice, except for like when I go to open up a deck on Arena, you can't double click properly. It just doesn't work that way, and you have to use the pointer. And then sometimes I don't know, like different little interfaces in Arena. There are times you just need to have the precision of a clicker versus your finger. When you're just like whipping out a land and throwing out an opt, or
are you trying to tell us that you're not a clicker?
No, I'm a clicker, but playing Arena, using your fingers to like just get out all your guys is a little bit tactile, and it's kind of nice. I like the tactile part of it.
Makes me wonder how it's going to be implemented in mobile. How many misclick lost games are going to happen because of that on the phone.
Yeah.
Bro, on tablets, like if they put it on tablets, they have to on tablets, but not on phones, right? Like,
Dude,
well,
I actually
if
think it could work on phones. I was watching Day 9 on my phone today. He does a like a daily type thing with Magic on the arena, and I was watching it on my phone, and I actually think it's possible. You have to be very careful, but I do think it's possible. You could play it on your phone.
It'd be kind of similar to Hearthstone.
Yeah.
At that extent, I guess, because I mean, it is being developed for Unity, which is the exact same engine that Hearthstone is developed in. So they could throw it on the phones, and I think that's kind of the goal. That's probably like the next platform that they're going to move on to, because they said on Twitter earlier today that Mac wasn't necessarily of the highest priority, which implies that they're looking at other platforms. So my guess is mobile and iOS. Android, iOS, that's going to be the first step, then Mac, then consoles.
And maybe that's what's causing all these changes and patches for Arena to take so long, is that they're focusing on getting it out on mobile as fast as possible.
Yeah. I mean, they did say, I think it was Chris Cox or someone said that during the Game Awards in December, that they're going to make they're going to make an announcement regarding towards esports or something. It was a very vague statement that they're going to make a big kind of grandiose reveal kind of thing at the Game Awards. So that may be when they announce, hey, it's coming. It's going to come to phones in like March of next year or something. Yeah. That'd be my guess, is when the game fully releases is in spring of 2019.
Yeah, well, their CEO did say that it would be Q1 of 2019 that they want to have this game in full release version, and their aspirations and goals for it is to be an esports related client like Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow!
So gotta get that money.
I think they know. I think they know that this could be a huge cash cow and could really put Hasbro back on the map for the Dow Jones. But like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know that a Magic is going to have the juggernaut success that Hearthstone did.
Yeah, that was kind of like a lightning in the bottle kind of moment, because it was like the first of its kind that became really popular, and it showed everyone, hey, card games are cool and interesting in a digital way.
I guess the question is just, is Magic a better game than Hearthstone?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. But a better game doesn't necessarily dictate whether or not it's going to be successful.
Yeah. I think, like, is it more consumable? Possibly.
Yeah,
might be the more.
I like, if you ask people on the street, like, do you know about Magic, or do you know about like, if you ask, have you heard of Magic, have you heard of Hearthstone, I think the chances of saying yes to Magic are much higher than Hearthstone. So
yeah.
Overall, just level of brand awareness is higher, and if it is as functional as Hearthstone is, and Arena is pretty functional, by the time they get all the kinks and stuff worked out of it, it should be good enough to play in place of regular Magic, and I would certainly see it being a possibility for something that you have on your phone. You just jam games whenever.
Oh my God, I could just imagine the future of Magic like 5 to 10 years from now. It's just you play on Arena exclusively pretty much, and it's just like, if you want these special promos or get invites to these special events, you have to enter an event through the Hasbro official stores or something like that.
Dailies. Oh,
just consolidate it all towards the Hasbro brand, all into one.
Like, you go there and you bring your phone to play against people.
Kind of like a raid,
fireside gathering type thing,
like a Pokemon Go raid kind of thing, or Fireside Gathering. Yeah,
bro, that blows my mind.
He just blew his mind.
Oh man! And you gotta have wireless charging. Gotta have wireless charging.
What I think would be neat, though, is like if they implemented a way of like crowdsource funding through MTGO and the MTG Arena clients, so that we could support the players on major tournaments like the Pro Tours and Worlds.
That's the thing. Like how we were saying earlier, like if they want to be successful esports, they need to back their professional players. In order to do so, they need to do what you brought up, and it's like some sort of crowdfunding, something.
Yeah, I think it'd be really awesome if there was, like, leading up to a tournament, there could be some bundle where it's like, hey, for $5 or $10, buy this bundle. It's like 4 times the value. You get to, support this tournament, that it'll be this prize, it'll go towards this prize purse on this tournament, or it could even be for an even better cause, like the Red Cross for like a national disaster that just recently occurred, like Blizzard Entertainment recently just announced at their BlizzCon that their little crowdsource funding thing for like a pet that you bought, they raised $13 million for Red Cross. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What game was this?
It was just a global like pet you could buy through their shop for I think it was World of Warcraft or something. This particular pet raised $13 million, or it might have been like other things that were associated with this charity cause, but they raised $13 million for a charity, and I think that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, there's a lot of fucking money in digital gaming right now.
Yeah, and gamers are when they really want to be like charitable and put their money where their mouths are, they can.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully we can do that in the future with Arena if Wizards is smart, but only time will tell with that. But on that note, I think we are going to end the podcast for tonight. Seems like a good spot to end.
What about
McBee, Dan, thank you both very much for joining me.
What about Rich Hagon?
Yeah, I remember we had him in our show notes. I can't remember what the fuck we were going to talk about with that. Do you remember?
How awesome he is at his job.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I just said he does a great job on the news desk.
I
coverage desk.
Mad shit about him one time in the chat of a Pro Tour, and the guy from WotC was like, "Why don't you like Rich Hagon?" And I think it might have been Rich Hagon in disguise.
He does troll the shit out of the chat. It's quite hilarious.
Or it was the guy who does all the coverage. The what's his name?
Marshall.
Rashid, something or other.
Rashard.
Yeah. It is. It might have been that guy too. That was like
Shard's awesome, man.
He seems like a super nice guy. I feel like I've met him multiple times, and he's always been.
Yeah, I think he might be one of those guys where he's not the best behind the mic, but he's great when it comes to production.
Yeah. Because I think he kind of makes that whole thing like hum, right?
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Big skill.
Yeah, Rich used to be in the booth, and by the way, Nick, I don't think we're editing the stream right now.
No, I don't think we are either.
Hagen used to be awesome in the booth, but he didn't. I don't think he could break down everything like Magic players need. Like Magic players need that LSV type guy where he can just go over the lines of play and really explain to the viewer, this is the one you want to take, and here is why.
Yeah, not to say that he's not good in his other role though. Like you were saying,
he's good on the main desk.
Yeah,
like getting hyped up. That's the one thing I've always liked about him is he really knows how to set the mood.
I've been impressed with what's the girl's name?
Maria Bertholdi.
Maria, yeah,
love her.
She is exactly what they needed for the last 8 freaking years. Is a female presence and someone who's extremely enthusiastic and exciting and can bring excitement to what they're representing and trying to portray. And if that's all I ask. Just get me excited about the Pro Tour. I don't need LSV or granted I'm a corner case. I play enough Magic where I don't need someone like LSV to break every single line down for me. But I mean, if they can make me excited and just chomping at the bit to watch the Pro Tour, that's all I care about.
Yeah,
she has a YouTube channel because that's what she was doing before she got on the coverage team. And I remember when she was on there, I was like, oh, fuck, I remember you. She had a podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but I'm at their YouTube channel right now. It's called Good Luck High Five. It had a different name before that. I can't remember what it was.
Good Luck.
Magic the Amateuring. That was the name of the podcast.
Nice.
But yeah, so she's had quite a storied history in our industry. And
Dude,
yeah,
she's
I
legit,
will agree
man.
with you. She does a pretty damn good job. She is an Emmy winner, I believe. She's got
Really?
she's had a career in this field for media,
Wow.
and she's got 1 or 2 Emmys.
Wow,
If
I
I'm
did not know that.
mistaken. And I see people talk shit about her all the time. Just like, this sucks or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, you don't recognize what's real, man.
Yeah, they're just incels.
Wow.
I went there.
Think
You
black,
using the hot topic word of the month?
I don't know, man. I don't get why people are like so threatened by females being involved in magic, honestly.
Because it's change. People don't like change. Then again, a lot of change is correlated with something bad in magic,
man.
especially as of late. But Maria is a good change.
I think so too. Like,
Yeah.
somebody who's good at their job, yeah, more people like that.
Yeah.
Because some of these motherfuckers are messing up.
Right? If we could just get an entire team of like Marias and LSVs, and I like Riley Knight. He's really cool. The New Zealander guy. I think he's New Zealand or Australian. You know who I'm talking about?
Yo, somebody else with a cool accent that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, he's a really good commentator.
I love Riley Knight when he just goes hard in the paint and just doesn't hold back, and it is great. There are some priceless Riley Knight quotes that you can find. You don't have to dig real deep, and dude, that dude, oh man, it is freaking awesome.
You got any good examples?
No,
Machine.
he's just said some stuff where like you hear it and you're like, I have never heard anyone use that expression before in this scenario ever. Like, just oh man, I don't know if it's like a regional thing where he's from and where we're at, but man, it is hilarious, man. He cracks me up. He can't hold back though. Like, you gotta just let him be free and like do your thing, you know?
Just let him be Riley. Just let him share all of his euphemisms. You trying to look it up, McBee?
I am.
Hurry up. I got to get to bed soon.
Riley Knight is great.
Huh?
It was not this previous Pro Tour, but the one before. He was like, or maybe it was the Grand Prix. Like, probably.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
What?
You don't have to look very hard.
And it looks like Chandra's dead parents are going to remain that way with that cryptic command. No, Simon, I have not ever been accused.
What?
No, Simon, I have not ever been accused of embellishing. Not even once. Ever.
Yeah, it's just like tongue-in-cheek humor, and he just like, I'm telling you, man, when he goes hard in the paint, man, he just let him go, let him be free. Oh man,
It's like live shit posting.
I love the Pro Tour, man. I think Marshall Mathers, Marshall, what's his last name?
Marshall Sutcliffe.
Yeah, Sutcliffe. He I'm just gonna call him Eminem for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, just call him Eminem.
I think he's like gonna be the voice of the Pro Tour for the foreseeable future.
He has been for quite some time now, hasn't he?
Yep. I think like Randy Bueller passed the mic, and he's gonna hold on to it for quite a while.
Yeah, he's been a mainstay there for God. Ever since I decided to start paying attention to the Pro Tour, and that was back in 2012, 2013. So
he just knows when to like not talk and let the expert pro player in the booth with him just, you know, carry the load, and then when shit's getting kind of calmed down and what?
Share the load.
Share the load.
I love you guys. We better wrap it up.
Yeah.
We are mature. All right. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and end it there, actually, now, officially, for the Man of Dorks podcast, episode 14. As always, I'm your host, Tasty Snack. Is brought to you with my co host, McBee.
Hey, what's happening? The show is almost over.
Yeah, I was about to say, what is happening? You got to get going, man. And then our other host, Dan.
Share the load, everyone.
Share the load. All right. Thank you all very much for watching. We're going to get a new channel set up for the Man Dorks podcast in the next week or so, where we will offload all the episodes there in the archive. But all of our future live episodes will be shared here until we can get live permissions for the other channel. Bit convoluted, I know. Whatever. Such is life. Anyways, my name is Tasty Snackies. You all been wonderful, and I'll catch you on the flip side.